and welcome to another episode of the Laughter for All podcast. This is Comedian Nazareth, and thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday evening. Already September 7th, ladies and gentlemen. September 7th is already, and we are excited to tell you that we are doing tonight's show number 99. And it's so awesome to have you all with us. And I want to remind you at 8:30 p.m. tonight, we're going to have another episode of the Live with Naz on Facebook, same place. And it's show number 300 and probably 35. So anyway, you are used to Laughter for All. We had comedians for the last 4 weeks in a row, but you know that always bring people that can help you and people that can really impact your life and people can help you deal with pandemic, post-pandemic, and all that. And tonight is no exception. And you have a wonderful, wonderful guest that we're gonna be helping you tonight. We're gonna ask your questions. We're gonna see what we can, talk to you about, some supplements and vitamins that can help you. Now, this is not an infomercial. A few weeks ago, I started taking uh, the professional botanical vitamins on the show live to show you the impact. So I'm doing this, to be truthful and honest and see what effects it's gonna have. And after 2 weeks, I told you, yes, it works. Go ahead. If you want to buy it, go ahead and buy it because it have energy, lots of energy with me. It gave me a lot of energy, and the mental clarity one was just amazing. So today I'm bringing the man, the CEO, the president of that company, and I want to introduce him professionally. And I'll bring him on the air. He's here. He's on the. I can see him. While bottling and packaging for a small nutritional company in the 70s, Dr. Millet was involved with the health and nutrition industry at an early age. In 1980, his father, Chuck Millet, started Professional Botanicals Inc. When looking to the future, Dr. Millet felt that a degree in chiropractic medicine seemed to be the best fit for a career in health and nutrition. It's only after graduation that Dr. Millet believes his education truly began when he started studying kinesiology and the relationship between the body's energy and health. I love that. Nutrition and its impact on overall well being became a vital part of his practice. Dr. Millet has been practicing chiropractic physician since 1986. Being a much sought after lecturer and presenter, his travels have taken him all over the globe. Recently, his engagements have included speaking at the university medical staff in Istanbul, Turkey, and being broadcast worldwide as a presenter for the World Symposium of Integrated Medicine. Currently, Dr. Millet is the owner and CEO of Professional Botanicals. His belief in living life to its fullest is manifested in both professional and private life. For the past 20 years, he has been a whitewater enthusiast, kayaking rivers all over the world. He enjoys skiing, motorcycle racing, and just enjoying the outdoors. He loves living in Utah with his beautiful wife Lisa and two dogs. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Malay. Right. Hello, Doctor. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually great. Thank you. Who wrote that, by the way?
Conrad.
Millet
Conrad
Kyle.
did.
Oh, dude,
Thank you
he did.
so.
Didn't he do an awesome job?
You are a busy man. You are a busy
Oh,
man.
hey, we tried to keep the balls in the air, so to speak. Keep things moving forward. And
Uh,
it's an honor to be on with you guys tonight.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so much. This is a
appreciate it.
laughter for all. It's called Laughter for All podcast. Even though we don't really focus on laughter, most of the comedians come and just open up and talk about reality and their life. So, motorcycle racing. Why? When you have a balanced life, why?
I actually had to hang that one up last year, but I turned 60, and that
Oh,
that was kind of my time to say, you know what, maybe I need to choose my battles in life. Choose the things I want to do, and that was one of the things my wife said. You need to calm down on that a little bit. But we had a great time. I had a son that my son and I would go out and spend the weekends doing it, and just have a great time. And we've developed not only just, being father and son, but being friends and friends for life. And it was worth it. It's fun. It's exciting. I enjoy living a little bit on the edge. I like that adrenaline rush. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. And, but, and I'm a family guy. So you got to find something to just kind of put you out there a little bit. And those are the kind of activities that did it for me.
Now, when you do kayak, are you doing whitewater rafting or kayaking? Which one do you do?
For a long time, since 1988, I was a kayaker, and I don't know if you ever done that kind of sport before, but it's a very individual type of sport. You're sitting next to someone, but it is, as far as they're in their boat, you're in your boat. You never run a river by yourself. You've always got to be with someone else. But the bottom line is it's a very individual, very, how do you say this? You've got to have control of your thoughts. You've got to keep your head, especially when you get into some of the crazy situations you can find yourself in. You just kind of say, okay, relax. You'll be able to breathe here in a few more seconds, hopefully. And, turn that boat back over and keep going. And it's a lot of fun. It is very, very fun. Recently, since the age of 60 again, I do own rafts. So we've taken people down on trips and things like that. And I still do it. I probably go run a river at least once a week.
Now, you're a chiropractic doctor, you're a nutritionist. And how many hours a week do you work on your practice?
Boy, what a loaded question. I consider myself to be semi-retired. And with that being the case, quite frankly, I work, an hour and a half, 2 hours a day on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning. And that's it. That's how I have balanced my life. I find it extremely enjoyable. Through the years, I've been doing this for 35 years. So you've got to imagine I've done a lot of practice. And we get to a point now where I don't really need practice. I just do it. So, but I've, in the past, I would work from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And it was my life. And it is, I hate to say this, and it's kind of hard for some people to grasp onto, but this kind of profession that I got myself into is more of a calling. It's more of an opportunity to do something different. And I truly think that most chiropractors are what I call mavericks. They're people that like to kind of, make their own way. They drive their own carrot, I guess is a good way to put that. And likewise, I've been, my wife has always helped me in the practice. And we've been very blessed, very successful and very blessed. And it's at this point in the game, it's an opportunity for me to give back to the people that I serve in my practice. And I was practicing today. You were trying to call, and I think, a good friend of mine was trying to call at the exact right time that and I was going, I'm on stage. I call it being on stage. So it's like you being up to the microphone. I'm on stage in the clinic, and right. I just stay focused and stay really directed.
Now, let me ask you, your father was a physician also?
No, my father was a promoter. He basically, I had to tell you the whole story.
Yeah, tell me, because I was told the movie Medicine Man was based on your father. Tell me about that. No.
Close. Here's the whole story is, in essence, when I was in high school back in the 70s, I worked for a very small nutritional company. And my job was, there was 5 of us working there. My job was to actually go out and scrape bark off trees, dig up roots, extract the oils out, and we'd put them in capsules, and a guy would take them out and sell them. And as he did this, I was exposed to this way of life, different. Our whole neighborhood seemed like it was all very wrapped into, medicine and drugs and pharmaceuticals. And here it was this, I had an opportunity to learn something completely different. And back in the 70s, if you were into nutrition, it meant you wore Birkenstocks and you ate Sprouts. That's about it, and maybe some vitamins. So I looked at it, and my father was retired. He had just done a big land deal with a an actor by the name of Robert Redford, and
Uh,
he was retired, so to speak, but he was only 40 years old, you see. And the owner of this little company I worked for said, would your dad be interested in doing a sales contract for us? And so he did. He came in and he learns everything. He just learned, he knew more than probably five physicians stacked up together. I mean, just very, very, very learned, very wise man. And he, at the end of his contract, got a hold of his friends, and he had made friends with very specific doctors throughout the world, and knew them quite well. And he just went to one guy and he says, I think I'm going to buy this company that I just did this sales contract for. And the guy says, don't do it. He says, let's build one from scratch. I will
mhm.
hook you up with anyone in the world that knows anything about the who's who of nutrition. I will hook you up, and you will have access to all of the research from all of the big organizations, China, Soviet Union, you name it. And the reason is this friend of his was Jacques Cousteau's doctor. Now, I
Oh,
don't know if you remember who Jacques
of
Cousteau
course,
was.
of course. The
Yeah, you know
the
that
man on
show?
the boat. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sunday night they had the Calypso, and anyway, he was Jacques Cousteau's doctor. So he had an opportunity to go to all of these different countries, and he knew people really well connected. So the doctor, he was his doctor, and he lined him up. Well, his name was Bruce Halstead, and Bruce was the one that the movie was made at, the Medicine Man, and that was
Right.
played by Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Yes.
Yeah, Sean Connery, and they were down in the Amazon. He and that, I can't remember the name of that gal that was in the movie with him, but bottom line
Mm.
is they went out and were looking for different medications for cancer projects or something, and anyway, they started this company. This is back in 1980, and they have been producing products specifically for physicians only, natural products for physicians only, and had created it. They had a arsenal of about 100 different formulas, 100 different products. So if you need to do, I mean, you name anything, there is something natural that has the ability to do it as well or better than some of the chemicals out there. And
Mm.
that was their whole purpose. These were MDs, biochemists. One of them was Norm Farnsworth from the University of Illinois. Anything that was done in the United States as far as research and natural stuff, it was big, right? He was the one, he was the guy. Well, he was the one who was involved with this company. There was a gal by the name of Neva Jensen. She got all of her education from the American Indians. She lived with them, with the medicine man, for 30 years. So you can imagine they came from all these different angles. And I came home from school, you know, literally, because I was in college at the time.
Mhm.
I would come from school, and my dad would have sitting around his table all of these different doctors, and they're trying to figure out, they're figuring out, okay, what do we do if somebody eats a bad mushroom, and how do we solve it? How do we
Mhm.
fix the liver? How do we lower blood pressure? How do we handle and balance somebody's blood sugar? How do we do this? And they built these formulas and just had a very huge company, and very, very, very powerful company, or formulas. And so by about 2006, Lisa and I, my wife, we, as I said, we've been very blessed in practice, and we were about ready to retire. We had bought our motorhome. We were on our way to Anchorage, Alaska, to hang out for the whole summer. And my dad came to
Uh-huh.
me and he says, Alan, he says, I'm selling the nutritional business. And I went, are you kidding? And he said, look, he says, I've got a buyer for it. If you want it, you can have it.
Mm.
And I says, I really don't think so. We're about ready to retire ourselves and go off and go fishing for the summer. And we woke up the next morning and had to repent and turn around and bought the company. And he says, you're not going to get the family discount. You're going to pay exactly what this guy paid. But anyway, I understand we need to hydrate and share. So
Yes, that's
um,
what we do in others every fit. It's hot. I don't know. Where in Utah are you, doctor?
my office is in Ogden, which is about 30 minutes north of Salt Lake.
Oh, okay. Ogden,
I
Utah. That's
actually,
where
my
the
wife
IRS is.
live in Idaho, though. We're
Oh.
we're right now we're being we drive in about 3.5 hours to work, and enjoy it. It's worth it
You drive 3.5 hours to work every day?
every
No,
day.
not every.
Every day. No,
Why?
I'm just kidding. We just do it. I come in on Sunday night, and I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday by noon. We're able to go back home.
Okay.
So
Let me yeah, let me put this in. I'm from the Holy Land. I'm Middle Eastern, so I'm skeptical by nature. I'm skeptic. So when Conrad, my friend, who's I've known for years, a neighbor, he goes, Nazareth, those are the best vitamins they are, and because they're, they deal with issues, they fix all that. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna take you up on it. I'm gonna try them on the air. And I have a show every night at 8:30 p.m. where we have about 100 people watch. And I did it every single day. And I kept telling people, do not do it, do not use it until I feel a difference. Now, my goal was high blood pressure to be lowered. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I wanted the inflammation to go down. But I know that takes a long time. I only been on them in a few weeks. But what happened is I noticed my energy is balanced. I was using GNC all these years. My energy is balanced. I'm not edgy. Like I'm at 11 at night, I still have a lot of energy. And then I tried something called the clarity, the mental clarity, and I can swear by that one. I mean, this one really made a difference. So why are these, why what is how do they do vitamins, and why these vitamins are different?
good question. Um, Number one, the biggest thing is you've got to understand this is just not just nutrition. These are formulas or recipes
Uh-huh.
put together in such a very, very special way to bring about a reaction. Okay. So it's not like just going and buying a bottle of vitamins. All right. If you tried a bottle of vitamins from our company, basically, what you would have would be something that is targeting a very specific purpose, has all of the secondary ingredients necessary to help support the body to do it and to do it right and sustain it. And then we would add enzymes. Now, the enzymes allow you to take less product and have more effect. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
less product, more effect. And the last thing is we do add the adaptogens. So, every formula has 5 different things in it, built in it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, if you were to go to the health food store, i.e. GNC, as you've mentioned, and I was very familiar because we were working with the basically the director of GNCs over in Turkey, and they had 115 different GNC stores. My understanding is they're not there now, but the bottom line is I got to look at their formulas or their products. They're not formulas. What they are is they when you get into the botanicals, they're individual plants, they're individual herbs. You buy a bottle of valerian root, you buy a bottle of Siberian ginseng, you buy a bottle, American ginseng, you buy a bottle of this and a bottle of that. Well, if you were to do that for one of our formulas, as you mentioned, this guy, you would have to spend about $250 to be able to buy the right stuff and then know how to put it all together to have it work. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes them very uniquely different. Their recipes, they all have enzymes, which allow them to be absorbed very easily. And then we add the very specific adaptogens that you need just to make things balance and work right.
So what does the adaptogens do? Like, what does that do? Just
Well, adaptogens, I was talking to a patient today, and I says, there's a way that we test in the office that we test your body's ability to adapt. Okay. Meaning if we were to put you under stress and we wanted to see how your body's going to respond, we can test that actually by doing different postures and what's happening with the heart rate. Okay. So it's a test that was developed, some couple decades ago. And so we did this with this patient, and she flunked. She basically flunked. And I says, let me give you an example. If you're in a sinking boat, you're out on
mm-hmm.
the ocean and your boat's sinking, you've got different reactions will happen from different people. Says you've got one person that they'll just panic and stand there. Okay. You've got
Right.
another person that'll step up and start putting life jackets on people. You've got another person that the only thing that they're concerned about is their purse. They're
Right.
looking for their purse, and that's all they're cared about. Then you've got another person that basically starts saving lives. Your ability to adapt to that stress gives you the ability to function appropriately. There are 21 plants on the planet that, if taken, give you or increase your ability to be the person that's saving lives. It gives you the ability to bring about balance in the body. In a doctor's term, we call it homeostasis. And all it means is there's a balance. You can have too low a blood pressure and be in trouble. You can have too high a blood pressure and be in trouble. It's that balance that you need to have. So imagine utilizing those 21 plants, which, by the way, we got this technology from Siberia. That's where it
Hmm.
came from. Back in the 70s, Bruce brought it over. He was working with a doctor by the name of Ian Breckman. And basically, what the deal was is there was this big combat between the athletes from Russia and their gold medals and the athletes from the United States and their gold medals. And so Russia had this program going for their athletes and their military on how can they make them better. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know if you remember the Rocky movies. With
Yes,
so
of course.
he was
Stallone.
all fighting the Russian, and the reason he was fighting the Russian is because that was a big deal back then. Anyway, long story is, you want to be the person that stands up, and so we have handpicked the very particular plants that will give you your body's ability to bring about balance, adjust your blood pressure, deal with stress, balance your sugar. I mean, you've got all of these things involved, and that's what we're all about.
So these all 21 plants that do that, they're all in in like these two products, the MU system and Adaptus. Is it these two or?
You're not going to have all 21 in every formula because there are certain areas that some are better than others, but you're going to see very particular patterns. There's 5 that we have picked that we put in every formula we make. We make formulas and ship them all throughout the world. Every formula we make has those 5 adaptogens in there. Why?
Mm.
Because it causes the product to work. I mean, the one thing when you're dealing with doctors, and I don't know what the case is now. Anyway, we're not going to talk about the medical profession right now. But the bottom line is in the past, if you're working with physicians and you give them a bottle of nutrition, they've got to see it work. And if it doesn't work, it isn't staying around for very long.
Right.
That's the bottom line. So when they make these products, what they did is they'd send them out to a group of doctors. There's probably about 12 clinics throughout the country they would send the bottles to, and they had to come back and have a 95% success rate. If they didn't, they would tweak it and change it, or they would discontinue it altogether and not even use the product. So there's we'll call them mini trials in these doctors' offices, even before there's one pill produced.
Wow.
For the open markets.
So let's say I have a high blood pressure. What should I take to lower it, and how long does it take for me to notice that these vitamins work for my high blood pressure?
Well, right now there's 6 products that we have that working with Conrad we have put into your program. I think there's 6 of them,
Right.
and I can tell you the one that I would pick for you for that situation is called Age Rejuve. Not that I would look at it as an anti-aging product. I would
Oh,
look at it as its ability to support the heart and circulation and blood pressure and bring about balance in all of those different areas. You know, Extremely
right.
powerful. That would be the one I would give you.
Okay. Now, I have a friend who had an open heart surgery. He's a very good friend from my church, and he asked me when he found out you're gonna come on the show. He had high cholesterol all the time. What do you guys have products that work with that?
Uh, yeah, the same products that you would be taking, the AdaptoStim, even mental clarity, they have ingredients in there that will adjust cholesterol. They are there to support a healthy cholesterol level in the body. So, I mean, the beauty behind the six products that I know that you have on your, probably even on your store, that you've been introduced to, is that
Uh-huh.
they're very universal. They have the ability to flex in a lot of different directions. I can tell you the ImmuStem. Yeah, I don't know if you have a
Mhm.
bottle of that right there,
Yes,
but
I do. The stem is right here. Uh, yes, this one. Yeah.
that that would be something I would definitely put your friend on. That is directed towards balancing blood levels, cholesterol levels, and also helping and supporting a healthy immune system.
Oh, wonderful. Because you're also a chiropractic doctor, which is really amazing. I have one of my fans ask this question on my show, and he said, the question for Dr. Murray, can your body being out of alignment, can that cause you to gain weight or mess with your health?
Definitely. Do you want
That
me to
it
expand on
does.
that a little bit?
Yeah.
No,
No, no, I talk about vitamins. You talk for a long
no,
sentence. I talk
no.
about chiropractic,
Look,
definitely.
the bottom line is that chiropractic is all based on one science, and that is the fact that a free flowing or functioning nervous system, that means your brain telling all of your body parts how to work, is chief. That's king. That is what we're working on. To be honest with you, chiropractor isn't after back pain. He isn't working on neck pain or headaches or back pain or anything. What his job is to do is to remove any physical interference on that nervous system and allow that nervous system to function, allow body parts to function the way they're supposed to. When that happens, you will you will be at your healthy level as long as you're eating right and you're taking the right supplements, because of our diet is just lacking in a lot of different ways. But other than that, having a proper functioning nervous system, in my opinion, is the number one thing that you must have to be healthy.
Now, how often does someone need to be realigned, or how often do you have to go to a chiropractor?
Well, I can tell you, if you're my brother, which you are in a way, I would try to resolve any issues that you may have, current problems. And once those are resolved, our office and our facility works basically on a wellness type platform. And we see people, we just check them, and we check everything. We check their nutrition, we check their how their things are functioning, we check their skeletal system, we check their nervous system. We do that at least every 10 days. So in essence, let's just say once a week or maybe twice a month. Twice a month
Hmm.
is usually pretty about right. And
Oh,
that is a maintenance level. And I can tell you 80% of my practice, that's where they're at.
now do you guys work on people with like rheumatoid that sometimes their joints are not, they kind of deteriorating? Do the chiropractors still work on
They,
patients with that?
they can. There are a number of different ways to work with a lot of fragile issues.
Hmm.
And you've got to have the right equipment and you've got to know what you're doing. But like I said, having done this for so long, I've been able to see what equipment works, what things can we do. There's ways I could work on someone and they could have a broken bone and it would not create a problem for them. So it's not rough. It doesn't have to be rough. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It can be something very smooth and very easy.
I have a lot of other questions that have to do with the nutrition and stuff, but I want to. What you think your son is in going to be in the same field you are, or is he doing the same? No.
No, I have a son. I have I have a podiatrist in the
Uh huh.
family, foot doctor,
Okay. Yeah.
dentist uh, in the office, or in the family. I have an attorney in the family, and I have the person that's going to be running the nutritional company when my wife and I decide to escape.
Oh, you
And
already have one already.
we have an idea. So So the bottom line is that we do have someone that can pull in. But no, I wish I do. Luckily I have a very, very good partner that I met a long time ago when he was just 14 years old, and he has been here working in the office almost ever since. And he's a chiropractor, and he also runs our production in the nutritional company.
Oh,
But if I was to leave the practice, he would be the one that I would want to give it to.
you got it covered. I have a question from Debbie Malone said, are there any side effects? Also, do they cause nausea, etc., taking these vitamins? I
Well,
haven't personally.
the the issue is they are very safe, but anything, even water, can give you an effect that if you take too much of it, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? So the bottom line is, if you're following the directions, the odds of you having a side effect or an effect that you don't want to have is very minimal, extremely very minimal. Maybe 1 out of 100 may get a slight headache or experience some nausea because their stomach is not, maybe they need to eat a little bit of food because they're not used to having minerals in their diet. There's a lot of different things that can cause that. So I always tell my patients, number one, stay hydrated.
Yep,
Okay.
we push
Number
that.
two, number two, if you eat your nutrition and it bothers you, eat a little bit of food with it. And super important. And those two things right there will eliminate all but 99.99999% of the problems.
Wonderful. Now, someone said, do any of these vitamins help with a torn meniscus? I don't know what a meniscus is.
Yeah.
Where do you buy that?
Well, a meniscus is, say, for example, in the knee, you've got a meniscus that sits on the sides, in a portion of the knee. And a torn meniscus, no, it is not going to heal. That's usually a surgical issue. But, but a lot of times lately, I have seen orthopedic surgeons that with appropriate nutrition and with an appropriate workout have opted to not do surgery in those kind of situations. But I'll be honest with you, I think most people still go for surgery.
Wow. Now, as far as I have a question here, Nat. Uh, I have people in my family with thyroid issues. Have there been any positive effects in regards to balancing out the thyroid?
Definitely, definitely. The number one thing that happens with the thyroid is usually a bad liver. I have chronically seen this in my office, where a person will come in and they've got blood tests even they have low functioning thyroid. That's usually what the case is, at least here in the United States. And they, as you examine what's going on, the toxic buildup in the liver is the most important aspect of thyroid function. See, the thyroid creates, and without getting too technical, because that's really not what I'm trying to do, but the thyroid makes a very specific hormone called T4. Well, T4 is not really the usable form of thyroid in the body. It has to be converted or drop off one of those and become T3 to be functionally working. Well, that dropping off or that change happens not in the thyroid, but that change happens in the liver, 60% of it, and in the gut, another 20%, and then 20% never converts. So if you have a bad liver, or you have poor digestion, or you eat Doritos all day long, or you don't eat right, or you're around toxins and poisons, or live in LA, and I went to school in LA. I was on the third floor in this school, and I can tell you, most of the time, I could not see the ground out of the front of the building. I mean, what is it? 30, 35, 40 feet max, and you could not see the ground. There's that much toxins in the air. So I got to tell you that those are the kind of things that will affect your liver. It affects the way that your body functions, which in turn is now going to create a thyroid problem.
Wow. Did you go to UCLA?
I went to a private school right in between UCLA and USC Med Center.
Wow. Awesome.
Right on, right off the Hollywood freeway. It was my chiropractic school, right? So
Uh,
it was a private school that we went to.
Now, what do you do with like sometimes you feel bloated and your gut is always like, you work out, you're losing weight everywhere else in your body, but your stomach is still those sides, the flaps on the side and the gut. How is vitamins work with that? Nutritions work with that?
Well, you need. There's basically three aspects to basically weight issues, and I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to put a fourth one on there. And the fourth one is you've got to follow whatever program you're going to do. Okay, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
follow it, whatever you read or whatever you buy or whatever you set up is not going to work, right? But
Right.
so let's say you follow it. You've got to have something that decreases your appetite, something that increases your metabolism. That could be exercise, it could be very specific nutritionals. And the thirdly is you have to have balanced hormones. If you don't have balanced hormones or chemistry in your body, that is the third aspect of, I call it the triad of losing weight. If you don't have that, you will hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. So you've got to work with all three of those, and then you have to apply those in your life. It, like I say, just knowing what to do doesn't make you perfect.
Now, can you emphasize more the hormones? How do you balance that? How do you have the right hormones? What is that?
Well, and that's where the adaptogens come in.
Oh,
The
from the
power
from
is
these.
the power is the nutrition, correct,
Mm,
and also balancing, say for example, male and female hormones, balancing hormones that you have, balancing your adrenals, balancing how your thyroid is working. All of those things all kind of lace together, so to speak, to give you that overall health. And that's why these six things have been introduced to you specifically.
Now, how come my doctor doesn't tell me this? How come doctors don't tell you, "Oh, go try these vitamins," or
Well, in a lot of doctors, and there are a lot that do. The United States is a little bit behind, I think, a lot of the rest of the world as far as nutrition is concerned. We've always stuck to this, pharmaceutical model, probably a little longer than we should. But the bottom line is there are, I'm on the phone daily with doctors from Germany or from Thailand, and these are MDs or people that are running hospitals that are saying, hey, we need these products, we need alternatives. People want alternatives. And so there are physicians. And like I say, we've been selling to doctors. My father started what, 1980? And these were built by doctors. So if you can imagine, they were built by doctors for doctors. And so you're going to find those that will, but you're also going to find those that don't. We have on the off hours that I'm not working downstairs in my clinic. I have had a family doctor come to me 4 weeks ago, and he says, I would like to come in and I want you to teach me what you do. Please
mm,
teach me how to deal with this naturally. It's just they're amazed. We've had a number of physicians work in our office, internists primarily. They really like learning new things, it seems like. And we'll have an internist come in and he'll work with you. He says, it's weird. He says, people come see me and I put them on a medication for a week, and then I got to change it and go to another one. Then I got to change it, go to another one. He says, they go to you, and in 3 weeks, they're all done and they're well and they're out the door. He says, I need to learn what you know. And I said,
right.
it's all about having the right tools, specifically having the nutrition, there at your fingertips. So
Is
there
it
there
tr-
there are good doctors out there.
yeah. Is it true, doctor, that there is like you hear that propaganda that they are trying the pharma companies really want doctors to stick to medicine rather than natural products like yours?
I believe totally that it's true. I've seen that. I think there is a large push. A lot of it is probably controlled more in the United States, controlled by the hospitals. The hospitals kind of run the show, and the AMA is backing them up.
Hmm. I have a question. See, those vitamins are making me hear noises in my head, but it was
Yeah, that's my
not
wife.
the.
She's playing.
Uh, Someone wrote, my mom would like to know if their ingredients are organic and whole food.
Definitely.
They're all organic. They're all natural
Well,
stuff. And
there are certain things that you can't buy organically. So you've got to look for wild crafted, wild harvested. I mean, some of the stuff we buy from over 14,000 elevation feet of elevation in Tibet at an organic farm. I mean, we bring in ingredients from all over the world, and some of them are definitely certified organic. Some of them that's just you can't buy them that way, you know. So you have to find wild, whether what are called wild crafted ingredients, and those actually are probably even better than an organic situation because it's basically Mother Nature that's been taking care of them instead of in a farm. Um, as far as that's that aspect of it. There was another aspect to your question. I'm trying to remember what it was.
it was organic and whole food, something,
Yeah,
the ingredients.
whole foods. Primarily, when you're talking about plants, they are whole foods. Now, understand that we're using sometimes it's the root, sometimes it's the leaf, sometimes it's the stem, sometimes it's the flower, sometimes it's the whole thing. So you're picking different parts and grinding them up and putting them into the process. That is by definition whole foods.
Wow. What do you call it? I how, how do they make vitamins? I mean, sorry, excuse me. So you guys take these roots and different plants and all that, and you grind them all together and mix them up, according to the formulas. And then what is that plastic thing you guys put in? Is that
Called capsules.
edible? Is that edible? Can you can you?
We use what are called vegetable capsules, and they're plant based, and it's basically a cellulose that you're able to put together, a plant based cellulose that it just allows you to put the stuff in. Now there are plastic ones. I got to tell you, they're out there. There's a lot of different things that you can purchase, and you have to know where you're buying from, have it tested, make sure that it's got an analysis, make sure it's clean, make sure it does what it's supposed to do. But the bottom line is, in our case, we use what are called vegetable capsules.
Are there other products in the market that's similar to these that kind of like I mean, what makes this excellent?
It's the recipes.
The
Um,
recipe.
yeah, we've had numerous companies come to us, and I could name drop a little bit, but I'm not going to do that. But we've had companies come to us and say, "We can see how you put products together. Will you sell us this recipe?" And we say, no, that's our Coca-Cola, so to speak. We're not going to give you our Coca-Cola recipe. And by doing that and building it with the enzymes that allow it to just, I mean, you got to imagine, do you understand how enzymes work?
No, I don't.
Okay, look, when you're taking something,
Uh-huh.
the biggest problem that you have is that you want to make sure that when you take it, that it doesn't just pass through your system. When I shoot x-rays, and I can line up sometimes on the lower back x-rays, and I can come down and I can count about a week's worth of calcium pills that some people are taking because they'll still be there, undigested, unbroken down, and unutilized. And I'll tell them, I said, I understand that you're probably taking calcium. And they'll look at me, how did you know? I says, because they're sitting here in your x-ray, they show up. But the bottom line is enzymes, when you get enzymes wet, they immediately kick in and start to break down, almost explode. We've got one of the things we've done in the past is we've taken enzymes from one of our big products and basically dumped it on cereal, and you can literally watch it digest the cereal. That's how powerful these are. So you put that along with the adaptogens, along with the formulas. I there was a long time when I was first in practice, I was kind of going, maybe there's other companies out there. And I used to carry a couple different brands from other companies. And then when I started really looking at what my father had put together and these doctors had put together, I just went, holy smokes. There's nothing out there, in my opinion, there's nothing out there that can compete with this.
Now, what kind of vitamins do you take personally?
I'm
No,
looking at
I
my
mean, I know
look
you're
at my
taking
wife
leads,
over here. I got to tell you,
Lisa.
and to me, I mean, literally, what do you say? 20 different stuff. I take stuff for adrenals. I take multi. I take mental clarity. I take adaptostim. I take a lot of stuff, and it's it's our nature. But I have to have a little bit of food because if I don't, I will get kind of upset stomach. Somebody brought that up as a question. I
Right.
have to have a little piece of bread or a piece of an English muffin or something in there to kind of buffer that. But one of the reasons that we thought it was super important for us to maintain the torch of in the family of carrying this company forward was simply our responsibility to do so. It's a blessing. It's something that for a long time, my family's been working at it, and all of a sudden, my wife and I are getting of age where these kind of products or formulas are extremely important for us. We haven't taken medication. A lot of 50, 60-year olds are on 10 different types of medication. I can tell you that neither of us are on any pharmaceutical medication. And I went down, a couple of years back. I went down on my motorcycle pretty hard, and this was kind of what changed my idea. But I was in the hospital, and I'm laying there, and the first question they ask is, "Well, what medications are you on?" And we just looked at them and said, "We're not on any. I'm not on any medication." They go, "Come on, you got to be on something. What medication are you on?" And if I didn't have these products to grab as a personal for me and for my wife and for my kids, my grandkids,
Uh-huh.
I would feel bad. I would feel like I've lost something. And, we are users of the product. We have grown up this way. And our family, I've raised 4 kids, and they're all in their 30s now, and they are healthy. They're good kids, and they've lived a healthy, happy, exuberant life with no medication, no drugs, no alcohol. It's been amazing. So, and everyone's not that fortunate, but the idea is try to pick up wherever you are and try to do the best you can. But
Right.
that's why we have this company.
Wonderful. There's a question from Alan. Says, any general recommendation for T1 diabetes? 59-year-old, no known complications. In the past 10 years, I've had to supplement potassium to prevent severe cramping post-exercise or exertion.
Um, Type 1 diabetes is a difficult one to deal with. You pretty much are dependent upon the insulin coming from an outside source. As far as the supplementation of potassium for exercise and exertion, you've got to be careful with potassium because it can play games with the heart. Rule of thumb is don't take more than 99 milligrams in a single serving, and don't do more than 2 servings in a day. So I usually, my patients, I will have go on to a magnesium or a calcium with boron type of formula for the same thing, for the exercise and exertion. One of the products that you have, Nazareth, on your product list is called Relaxol.
Yes.
Relaxol needs to be the one that this guy reaches for. And I would probably supplement, you can take some potassium, like I'm saying, but you've got to be careful about the dosage. Relaxol is probably a better grab or a
What do you, yeah,
complementary grab.
that's awesome. What do you have for anxiety and depression?
Adaptostem.
Adaptostem. That's
Done.
one.
You've got
You
it
guys
sit.
are giving me everything, aren't you?
Yep. I'm telling you that is a biggie. Adaptostem right there. You will notice that you've got more energy, more ability to get up and go in life. You won't feel depressed. You know, there are other specific products that we could roll into the mix, but I got to tell you that one right there is one of the best.
So taking it by itself is good enough for someone
Yeah.
to lower anxiety. Okay, now let me ask this question, and it just being honest to my fans and everybody. I mean, not everyone can afford. These are very good, and I know I all call them the Nordstrom of vitamins. You can get and I have to be honest. I mean, this might sound not disgusting, but whenever I take in GNC vitamins, you can tell when you go to the bathroom. You can tell if you, when you're standing looking there, like, oh yeah, I'm taking vitamins today. These you never, and because you said the enzymes really works with that. But someone, okay, I have people who are listening and go, yeah, I can chip do $99 a month, or I can do 150 a month because I would rather do this health thing and feel better now, later. But for some people who cannot, what can they take that's like, oh, this is all I can afford, and this is gonna work overall for me?
Well, the rule of thumb is, I mean, obviously I'm in the business, so the rule of thumb is that most people will spend about $150 a month. Um,
Mm.
Not all, but most. And a lot of times they spend it usually on some sort of infomercial or some sort of late night something they see on TV, or they buy it from one of the big market stores, or one of the big health food stores. Um, if you are unable to do that, which I understand that that is not the case for everyone, then there's two things you need to do. Number one is pick what would be the most important, and that would, in this product lineup that you have, if I was to choose one, boy, I can tell you they're really close. Immustem is
Mhm.
going to give you basic nutrition. It's going to give you very, very solid green basic nutrition. It does not have the total level of adaptogens that you may have in Adaptostim,
Mhm.
okay, or the mental clarity. But those two, and the age defy or age rejuve, excuse me, and
Mhm.
they're very similar products. But I would start, if I was going after basic nutrition, I would go Immustem.
Mhm.
Then I would pick maybe Age Defy if I was concerned about anti-aging. Somebody posted a question on here and it said,
Yeah, I was gonna read
"Will
it
this
about.
help aging?" Of course it will. Number one is it helps all the systems function appropriately. Number two is it helps to detoxify the body. Number three is it helps remove any oxidation or slow down any oxidation that you have in the body. Oxidation is like cutting an apple, and if you leave the apple sitting out, how it gets all brown. Well, that's what basically aging is in your body. So if you've got the ability to buffer that, that is going to help you be younger or feel younger, and that's what this formula does. So it's not just about aging; it's about just being better and enjoying the life that you do have.
Okay, there's something they throw in the box for me called Revive. What does that do?
That is a very, very, very powerful cream. It is designed specifically for joints, joint pain, arthritis, uh, pain in the back, any area that you feel like you're getting any type of. I mean, like our contractors and our carpet layers, and I mean this is a big one. Athletes, we have a number of college athletes that this is what they grab, this is what they take. I have basketball teams that they will call up at the beginning of the season and they'll say, I need a whole order of Revive Cream and I need to have it for my team, and it is something that if you at all have any aches and pains, which when you get to be 60 years of age and you've wrecked on your
Do
motorcycle, you've fallen
and
down,
rafting.
you don't have right range of motion, those are the things that you want to be grabbing for because they're going to just take that edge off of that specific joint.
Wow.
Powerful.
Powerful stuff. That's awesome. So, question: if I don't have a chiropractor, how can I tell the chiropractor I'm going to go to are they good? How can you tell?
Um,
Other than cracking you up because they're funny. I mean,
you know,
that's an old joke.
Good question, and I'm trying to cracking you up because they're funny. I personally, um, and this comes easy for me. You know, as you walk into an office, the first thing that I think is important is understanding that most of us have the same degree. We went through the same schooling, but it's what we did after school and what we've accomplished through the years. I mean, I'll spend $30,000, $40,000 a year in education after going to school and making sure that I know what's going on. So you just look around and you'll get a feel as to if this doctor or your doctor is learning and is keeping up on things and has a caring attitude. I think that's important is to make sure to feel that they care for you. And then lastly, follow your gut. Follow your
Mm,
gut. You are given a God-given gift to be inspired and directed what to do in your life. And as you do that, sorry about the dogs.
no, that's fine.
You, as you do that, you'll get a feeling as to what's right. And I tell my kids because they live in other cities, they don't live here, and I tell them, I says, when you go to a chiropractor, just get a feel, follow your gut, you will know. And there are people that you're gonna vibrate with, and there's people that you're not going to. So that's how you do it.
I can't believe it's been 56 minutes. You are very interesting, doctor. I would love to have you back on the show. I want to question, how's your faith? Where's your faith? How impactful was your faith for your life?
Extremely impactful. I have my whole life being a Christian and being very very devout in what I do, and
Hmm.
it's how we've raised our kids. It's how my wife and I have lived our lives, and it's important. Just remember that. Everyone needs to remember that.
Oh, thank you. You're doing great work. Great. I really appreciate you being on the show. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can put the link so people can actually go and buy these products and what do you call it, to be able to, because some of them, if we already figured out, what's your ailment, people, and what do you need to get, and I will, on my other show, we can talk more about it. If you have any questions, we can always find out where can we get answers. Someone said, I need, what do I need for this? Where can we get those answers?
Well, the basically, if they go to order anything from your store, they're going to be directed to a customer service person that can help to answer those kind of questions. But also, if you look at the label gives also cues where you can actually talk with somebody that I have personally trained to understand and know how to utilize these products. So you can go to
Oh,
the website. There's a number of places you can go.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, doctor. And people, if you're watching and listen, I know some of you are gonna be there's 70 watching right now, but I know we have 1,400 to 1,800 downloads every episode. So if you are listening to this and you wanna get these vitamins or no more, it's called Stem Cell Wellness Kit.com. Stem Cell Wellness Kit.com. If someone can write it down on the comments so others, STEM, STEMCELLWELLNESS kit.com /Nazareth, so you can get the discount, NAZARATH. Dr. Malay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything you've done. It's so awesome. The beginning of the show and the end of the show, we saw your humanity and we thought through all that, and we appreciate what you do. And hopefully, I get to meet you in person somewhere on land, not on water, somewhere on. And if you're ever in California, come visit me. Would love to hang out with you
Okay.
in LA, where the poison, yeah, the areas. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
doctor. Bye bye. All right, guys, and if you are one of our Live with Nas fans, join us at 8:30 p.m. tonight. We'll talk about it. But right now we are stem cell. Well, oh, thank you so much, Conrad. This is the link you need to get. Oh, thank you, Alan, as well. You click on that and you see what you need and what you buy, and you get it's gonna be cheaper than buying it from anywhere else. And love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Live with Naz Laughter for All podcast, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Next week I'm gonna have Pastor Randy Christian with us talking about his new program of how to disciple someone, a new believer. Really interesting. So we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and have a great night. Good night. Okay, and all right. Now the beauty is to end it. Here we go.